Hi there, friends. Welcome back to another episode of Generation Ochi. My name is Alan. Well, actually, this is my first time on Generation Ochi, so welcome to Generation Ochi. Ever since Netflix has started this, release the entire season, bulk upload kind of thing, it's been pretty hard for me to get into shows like Attack on Titan. Not that Attack on Titan's final season isn't amazing, it is amazing, but it's hard for me to spend 1 week waiting just to watch 20 minutes. It kind of breaks my heart because I just want more and more. And so in order to get my Attack on Titan fix, I've been going back to the very beginning because no matter how good of a recap I watch, Attack on Titan is the kind of show that is just so jam-packed with little moments that it actually deserves a full rewatching. Because this show isn't just about mankind's struggle with Titans and the powers that they possess. It's also about the friends we made along the way. And then we're ripped apart in the most gruesome ways. There's no better way to give your heart for humanity than by having a Titan eat you and your heart. What's interesting about going back to the first season of Attack on Titan is just the sheer amount of crazy stuff that I've actually forgotten. I mean, it's been 7 to 8 years since the first season of Attack on Titan's come out, and back then I was, 4 years old and the captain of a Somali pirate ship in the Arabian Seas preying on cruise ships. And so today I want to take a look at 5 things that really surprised me during my second watch through of the first season. Also, team leader Congo is editing this video, and I don't want to spoil the 4th and final season for him, like when Eren Yeager's Attack Titan upgrades into a mobile Gundam.
Damn it, Alan!
Wait, Congo, how are you editing this video if I'm still filming it? Everyone remembers the fall of Shikadasha. We remember the colossal Titan appearing over the wall and Eren Yeager witnessing the death of his mother, an event that would fuel him with rage and determination for the rest of the show. You might also remember the armored Titan's appearance and how he quickly bashes through the inner gates, compromising all of Wall Maria, or how helpless garrison soldier Hans feels because he wasn't able to save Eren's mother. Tens of thousands of people died when the outer ring wall of Maria fell. Humanity would have to withdraw within the walls of Maria Rose in order to survive. But what people forget is that humanity attempts to retake Wall Maria in a really messed up way immediately after it falls. You see, the major issue was when humanity gave up the territory within Wall Maria, that also meant losing a massive amount of farming land. There were massive food shortages, and even though most of the refugees were sent to work the fields, food reserves were running dangerously low, and the people within the inner walls were growing impatient. And so in 846, humanity sends 250,000 refugees from the Shikadashina attack to try and retake the wall. Not 250,000 Survey Corps soldiers, not even 250,000 wall garrison or military police. We're talking about 250,000 essentially levied peasants armed with pitchforks and spears. We got a word for these guys: poor freaking infantry. And out of the 250,000 who go out on this very futile assault, only 100 or so make it back alive. So basically within a few weeks, 20% of humanity just disappears. And we find out later that they never really stood a chance at all, and the royal government knew that. The entire operation had been a plan to alleviate the food crisis by getting a massive amount of people killed. That's some really dark stuff. One of the main reasons why this reclamation effort was so futile was the fact that humanity was completely unprepared to fight the Titans on their own terms. We had become too reliant on the massive 100-foot walls surrounding our cities. No one believed that the walls could be breached because it hadn't happened in over 100 years. The cannons we possessed were inaccurate and took a long time to reload, and although wall garrison soldiers were equipped with ODM gear, there are actually very few soldiers who knew how to wield them effectively against Titans on the ground. The Survey Corps were basically the only units that actively tried to fight the Titans outside the walls with ODM gear, as we see in the first episode, but even then they were extremely ineffective and suffered heavy casualties while achieving very little. And when they returned, they oftentimes did stupid things like gifting a grieving mother the dismembered and rotting hand of her son, the only thing that remained of him. Isn't it better to just look that poor woman in the eye and then just lie straight to her face and say, "Ma'am, Moses parted a sea of Titans and brought down hundreds of Titans and saved humanity"? You really think just giving people dismembered hands and no positive results is going to increase your funding or recruitment? Come on, Survey Corps. Even with Captain Levi and Commander Irwin in charge, the Survey Corps at this point was ineffective. During the Battle of Tross 4 years later, things are a bit better, and it seems like the garrison soldiers here are at least better prepared to fight Titans with their ODM gear. But then again, they don't seem to be that competent because Mikasa, who's just a cadet, is immediately assigned to the so-called elite rear guard, and immediately proves to be one of the most skilled individuals in that unit. The 104th Training Corps is actually very good at fighting, and it's not just because of the Titan shifters that just happen to be in their ranks, but there are a lot of skilled fighters in there who actually aren't Titans at all. One of the more confusing scenes in the first few episodes is that dream sequence that Eren has after the fall of Shigashana. I mean, we obviously figure out what that dream sequence means later on, but I completely forgot that Eren Yeager had this dream and when exactly it happens. Perhaps it's because I don't understand Japanese and I'm not good at reading, so I couldn't really follow things as closely as I wanted to. Also, his dad completely goes insane and assaults his son with like a syringe. And so just like Eren, I was traumatized by the scene and forgot it even happened until much later. But that is the beauty of the show, isn't it? Just like the Survey Corps, Hajime Ishiyama also expects the viewers and readers to leap headfirst into this world without really understanding what's happening. Only through a second viewing can you really start finding out what all those little secret little scenes actually mean. Speaking of hidden things, remember the Smiling Titan that appears in the first episode that eats Eren's mom? The one that Hans thinks he can take down until he gets close up and personal to it? Well, you should remember that Smiling Titan because Eren and Hans will face her once again in the second season. Hans will find the courage that he always lacked, although perhaps it was never courage that was a problem with him, it was his ability. Which is a shame because he was always one of my favorite garrison soldiers and one of the most relatable characters for me. If I were a character in the Attack on Titan world, I would aspire to be like him. I mean, never set your expectations too high and you'll never be disappointed. After seeing his good friend get killed, Eren ends up using all of his rage and accidentally triggers a hidden ability with himself known as the Founding Titan Scream. This sends every Titan in the nearby area towards the female Titan, killing one of his most hated enemies. But here's the big twist. That Smiling Titan isn't just some normal person, it's actually Dina Yeager, formerly known as Dina Fritz. She's a direct descendant of the Fritz royal family and a member of the Eldian Restorationists who tried to overthrow the Marleyan regime. What's even more messed up is the fact that she was married to Grisha Yeager, Eren's father, which means Eren killed his stepmother and his stepmother ate his biological mother. I told you this show is freaking amazing. My biggest complaint about Eren Yeager was the fact that he always seemed overly dramatic and whiny. Yet at the same time, he was quite incompetent, especially in the earlier seasons. He was an average fighter and an average student, especially before he turns into a Titan shifter. Even then, he's not that great at fighting as a Titan, it's his tenacity and spirit that helps him overcome things. There's always Mikasa, who was a deadly cold assassin. I mean, it's downright terrifying how effective she is at killing things. To this day, I'm still afraid of people who wear maroon scarves around their face. But this wasn't always the case. Once upon a time, Mikasa was just a young, sweet girl from the endangered Asian clan. When bandits came to her house and murdered both of her parents, she didn't leap into action. She just froze and went catatonic, and the bandits kidnapped her. Which makes sense, after all, she's just an innocent child. What's even more messed up is that they happened to be visiting Mikasa's home when they stumbled upon this gruesome murder scene. Dr. Yeager, upon realizing what had happened, tells Eren to go home, which he doesn't do. Instead, he stumbles upon the very house where the bandits have Mikasa bound up, and he immediately decides to attack it in a very Eren Yeager-like style, but in this case, he actually doesn't mess up. Like that anticlimactic moment during the Battle of Tross, where he hilariously loses his leg the second he enters the battle. Instead, he's very clever and manages to gut a grown-ass man with a knife, but that's really not that shabby for a 9-year-old to pull off. Now, obviously, later on as things develop, their roles kind of reverse, but yeah, at one point in time, Eren was the murdering psychopath, not Mikasa. Anyway, guys, I hope you enjoyed today's episode. Don't forget to subscribe and hit that notification button down below for more Attack on Titan stuff, because we got a lot of content for you coming. I don't really have a sign-off, so bye.